Have you ever felt it? That pull? The house is quiet. Everyone is asleep. But the world outside is awake. It calls to you. It whispers secrets through your window. It promises adventure under the moon. This is a story about that call. It's about what happens when you decide to listen. My first story is about a girl named Chloe. She was 14, an age where secrets are currency and the night holds a certain magic. Her best friend Maya lived just 3 blocks away. They had a pact, whispered over late-night texts. At the stroke of midnight, they would slip out and meet at the small, forgotten park between their homes. It was their secret kingdom. As Chloe sat on the edge of her bed, her heart hammered a frantic rhythm of fear and exhilaration. She pulled her sneakers on, a small ritual to ground herself. The window groaned as she pushed it open, a sound that felt enormous in the sleeping house. She held her breath, listened, then swung her legs over the sill. Her feet landed softly on the damp lawn, the cool night air a sudden shock. The street was a different world under the sickly orange glow of the lampposts. Familiar landmarks were twisted into monstrous shapes by the shadows. You think you know a place, but you only know its daytime face. Chloe pulled her hoodie tighter, her footsteps echoing in the unnatural quiet as she hurried toward the park. She reached the edge of the park. The swings were empty, swaying slightly in a breeze she couldn't feel. She saw a hunched figure on a bench and whispered,
"Maya, whisper."
But it was just a pile of trash bags. A nervous laugh escaped her lips just as her phone buzzed. A text from Maya, "I'm here, hurry!" But the park was empty. A cold dread began to settle in her stomach as she scanned the dark playground. That's when she saw him, a piece of the darkness that was darker than the rest, standing under the ancient oak tree. He was unnaturally tall and thin, stretched like a wisp of smoke. Her breath hitched. She tried to find a face, but there was only a void. A solid, featureless block of absolute blackness that seemed to absorb the light and hope around it. And with his appearance, the world went utterly silent. The hum of the highway, the chirping of crickets, all vanished into a heavy, pressing vacuum. He hadn't been there a moment ago. He hadn't walked there. He had simply arrived. One moment, an empty shadow. The next, he was its heart. That impossibility broke her paralysis. Pure instinct took over. She ran, plunging into the bushes. Branches whipped at her face like claws. Her foot caught a root and she went down hard. Gasping on the damp leaves, terror a white-hot static in her mind, she scrambled to her knees and looked back. The space under the oak was empty. The silence was gone, replaced by the frantic pounding of her own blood. She couldn't see him, but she could feel him, a cold spot in the world, promising he would be seen again. Our second story is about a boy named Liam. And like many 16-year-olds, Liam believed he was invincible, fueled by that particular brand of teenage certainty that mistakes recklessness for freedom. The night it happened, the air in his house was thick with anger. A party, the last big one of summer, was calling to him from 5 miles away. His parents had put their foot down. "It's too late, Liam. That road is too dangerous at night." The words were a brick wall he was determined to crash through. To a 16-year-old, their concern sounded like a cage. He thought he knew everything, and he knew he wasn't missing this party. So he waited until the house was dark and quiet. He slipped out, the familiar weight of his bike a promise of escape. He started pedaling into the darkness, a silent rebel under a sky full of stars. The first mile was pure exhilaration, the wind, the rhythmic whir of the chain, the world bathed in the ethereal glow of a full moon. It felt like freedom. But as the houses fell away, the world changed. The silence grew heavy, pressing in. The woods that lined the road became skeletal figures with grasping, shadowy arms. After about 2 miles, the peace was gone, replaced by something primal and cold. The unmistakable, irrational sensation of being watched. He kept glancing over his shoulder. The road behind him was always empty, a long, dark throat of pavement. But the feeling persisted. Was that a twig snapping in the woods, just beyond his light? Or just an animal? He stopped pedaling, coasting and holding his breath to listen. Nothing, not even crickets. The silence was absolute, unnatural. He told himself he was being silly. That guilt was making him paranoid. It was just the dark playing tricks. He started pedaling again, faster this time, desperate to outrun the feeling. He was so focused on the sounds behind him, he almost missed what was in front. Rounding a sharp curve, his breath caught. That's when he saw it. A car. An old, dark sedan, parked haphazardly on the gravel shoulder. Its lights were off, a hulking void in the moonlight. An accident? A breakdown? But there were no hazard lights. As he coasted closer, his bike light tracing its rusted fender, he saw the driver's side door was open, just slightly ajar. An invitation, or a warning. A profound, bone-deep cold washed over him. Every instinct screamed at him to turn back, but the party was ahead. He pedaled past, eyes locked forward, holding his breath. He refused to look inside. He was 20 feet past, 30. He risked a glance back, and the world exploded in light. The car's headlights blazed to life, pinning him. Pure animal panic hit. He pedaled with a strength he didn't know he had, legs burning. The light was blinding, turning the road into a featureless track. A low rumble swelled into a roar. The car began to move. It didn't speed up. It just followed. It stayed 50 feet behind, its lights burning into his back, matching his speed. It wasn't a chase. It was a game. It was toying with him. The engine noise grew louder, closer. He squeezed his eyes shut, bracing for impact, but the crash never came. The roar settled beside him. He could feel its heat. Slowly, he opened his eyes. The car was keeping perfect pace, inches away. He couldn't see a driver. The seat was a pit of shadows. Then, with a soft whir, the passenger window began to roll down. He knew he shouldn't look, but he couldn't stop himself. He looked, and the image was burned onto his soul. A man sat in the passenger seat. His face was a waxy, unnatural white. His eyes were gone, two black empty sockets that pulled the light from the world. His mouth was stretched impossibly wide in a silent, agonizing scream. A raw scream tore from Liam's throat. He yanked the handlebars, not caring where he went, only away. The bike swerved, and the world tumbled in a mess of twisted metal and pain as he crashed into the ditch. He lay stunned, the taste of blood in his mouth. The car had stopped. Its engine hummed, a patient, predatory sound. A door clicked open. Then, footsteps on the gravel. Slow, deliberate, coming for him. He forced his head up. A tall, dark figure stood on the edge of the road, looming over him, a featureless silhouette against the moon. Just as the figure stepped forward, new headlights sliced the darkness. The figure paused, turned, then walked back to the car without haste, shut the door, and drove off, disappearing into the night. It was his friends, worried when he didn't show up. They found him a trembling, incoherent mess. They saved him from the ditch, but not from the memory. The police found nothing. His friends tried to rationalize it, but Liam knew what he saw. He never rode his bike at night again. He still sees that face in the window every time he closes his eyes. A passenger in a car with no driver. The memory doesn't just haunt him, it stalks him, a silent passenger in his own life, a shadow he can never outrun. My last story is about a girl named Sarah. She was 15. She loved the stars. For her, they were an escape from the noise of high school, a silent universe that made her feel part of something infinite. She wasn't just Sarah, she was an explorer, and she had a new telescope, a powerful instrument she'd saved months for. The best place to see the stars was the big hill in the town park, a beautiful place by day, but one locals whispered had a different, heavier energy after dark. The park closed at sunset. The gates were locked, but Sarah knew about a spot where the fence was broken, a jagged tear hidden by bushes. The risk was part of the adventure. She waited until her parents were asleep, the house still and quiet, then slipped out into the cold night air. She carried the telescope like a spy on a secret mission. The walk through the empty park was eerie. Familiar swings cast long, distorted shadows that seemed to watch her pass as she made her way toward the hill. The hill was perfect, clear, open, and far from the town's lights. The silence was profound, almost heavy. She set up her telescope, her focus absolute, and lost all track of time, feeling completely and utterly alone under the vast, indifferent cosmos. So the next time you hear the midnight whispers calling you to come outside, remember these stories. Lock your window, pull your blankets up tight, because some secrets are better left in the dark. If you enjoyed these stories, subscribe for more. Good night, and don't go outside.